More people in Wisconsin are using food pantries to meet their basic food needs. Demand at food pantries is up 30% since 2022, driven by increased grocery prices and the rising cost of other goods and necessities. Feeding America Eastern Wisconsin is a food bank that supports 400 food pantries, serving 500,000 people in our part of the state. Now it needs our help to meet increasing demand. Here to tell us more is Matt Stienstra, Director of Advocacy and Community Engagement for Feeding America Eastern Wisconsin. Matt, thank you so much for being with us.
And thank you for having me.
Let's start with something very basic. Feeding America Eastern Wisconsin is a food bank. How is that different from a food pantry?
So, a food bank, we source food from a number of different food producers to make sure that your local community pantry has healthy, fresh food to be able to give to their neighbors. We don't serve the public at location, but what we do is we make sure that hundreds of partners in the Milwaukee area and across eastern Wisconsin have what they need to be able to meet the need in their communities. We also work on public policy and other unique programs to find ways to fill the gaps where the food pantries might not be able to fit in.
Let's go a little bit more now in depth into understanding this increase. Have you ever seen this kind of an increase in the past, where you're looking at a 30% increase over just a few years?
No, I've been doing this work for 12 years, and I have not seen a sustained increase like this from folks that I talk to that have been around longer than me. They liken it to what happened in the mid-90s as the last time that they've seen increases at food pantry lines like we see today. The need has stayed elevated for a number of years now, and we're not looking at it subsiding soon.
When we try to understand who is using food pantries, who are the folks that you're now seeing at food pantries who just a few years ago you might not have seen?
The need right now is being driven by two major groups of people when we talk to our food pantry partners, and it's senior citizens and it's families with kids. We're also seeing an increased need of people that are coming to food pantries for the first time and people that don't qualify for federal benefits. So 30% of the people that are attending food pantries now don't necessarily qualify for federal benefits. So there's this real gap of people that have incomes a little too high to qualify for benefits, but are still food insecure.
You mentioned the term food insecure. What is that, and how is that different from simply looking at hunger?
So hunger is a feeling. Hunger is something that is a little bit different for everyone. It could mean skipping a meal once. It could mean knowing that there's just not enough food in the food pantry or trying to figure out how you're going to make a meal. Food insecure is knowing that you don't, in the past 30 days, you might not have had enough food in your food pantry or in your own pantry to be able to feed your family. It's not knowing where your next meal is coming from. It's an actual lack of food to be able to feed yourself or the people in your household.
You conduct a periodic study to really understand food security in our area better. What has your most recent study found?
What it shows is hunger is not going away, and it's increasing ever so slightly year to year. What we've also seen is that we're in the middle of the largest spike in childhood hunger since the Great Recession. What we've seen is that no community is immune to the rising need. When cities like Milwaukee, we continue to see the need at an incredibly high level. But you go to rural areas and it's the same thing. Whether you're in the city or in the country, we've found that the need is high and it's not going away.
I want to talk for just a minute about that increase in what you're saying in terms of hunger as it relates and food insecurity as it relates to children. That can just have absolutely devastating consequences other than what is in front of a child as they sit down at the breakfast, dinner, or lunch table every day.
I think any of us, if we think about when we try and get work done when we're hungry, how difficult that is. Now imagine you're a kid and you're trying to learn and you don't have the food that you need to keep your belly full to thrive and to focus on what you should be focusing on, which is school and play. Um, Childhood hunger is something that impacts kids and then it impacts those around them. Because as a parent, I think we all can, kind of think about if you're a parent, what it's like when your kids are hungry, how much more difficult it is for you, and how tough it is to look into the pantry when your kids are looking for a snack and not see anything that you have to be able to feed your kids. So when kids are hungry, it impacts their ability to learn, it impacts their ability to thrive, and it impacts everyone in the household.
You mentioned that we're seeing this increase, this rising rate of food insecurity throughout the area that you serve in eastern Wisconsin. But the study also found that Milwaukee County was really significantly impacted over the past few years.
Yeah, across the state of Wisconsin, over the course of the past few years, we've had a situation where the cost of groceries has gone up significantly. At the same time the cost of groceries has gone up, we've seen a reduction in federal support for food and food benefits that help people put food on the table. So you had the situation in Milwaukee County where hundreds of thousands of people depend on food benefits or food pantries, where they were faced with a situation where they literally didn't have as much money to be able to shop for groceries in the grocery store. At the same time, the food pantries were faced with having a dwindling amount of food to be able to hand out to families that were food insecure. You put those two things together and you have a situation where you're just going to see a lot more families needing help.
And as of today, we are also in the middle of a government shutdown. We don't know what how long that's going to last. What kind of impact does that have?
The impact of a shutdown is directly related to how long this lasts. There are a lot of benefit programs that feed families that could be at risk. Programs like WIC, programs like Food Share, could be at risk for November benefits coming through. So the need to be able to make sure that benefits are available for folks in November is going to be dependent on when this shutdown actually ends.
If there is any good news in all of this, the good news is that we can help our neighbors and our friends by working with Feeding America. How can people donate?
There's so much hope. I can't tell you how amazing it has been to see neighbors helping neighbors and stepping up to make sure that we can fill the need. People can donate by going to feedingamericawi.org. You can chip in whatever you can, and knowing that it's going to be able to go help your community pantry. You can also sign up to volunteer and help pack the boxes that are going to be going out to neighbors. You can sign up to help support and to lend your voice as well. There's a number of things that people can do, but it has been incredible and inspiring watching community come together to help support this cause.
Matt, thank you so much for the work that you and Feeding America Eastern Wisconsin are doing every day. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
If you need help now, you can find a nearby food pantry at feedingamericawi.org. Just click on the Find a Pantry link. That's all for this week. Thanks for joining us on Connect MKE. Be well, and we'll see you again next week.